Hi, I'm Toby Lapinski for the New England edition of the Fisherman magazine with this week's web fishing report. I'm going to jump right into the report. This week's got a lot to talk about. So we're going to start off over in Connecticut, where big news begins with black sea bass season opener over this past weekend, and it started with a bang. Everybody that we spoke to, all the tackle shops, all the boats, everybody got into some great fish. I saw pictures of 4, 5, and 6 pounds of black sea bass being caught over the weekend. So there's some great action to be had, so get in on this fishery before it moves on. Over at River's End, they report some very good fluking inside the Connecticut River, both by shore and by boat. When I spoke to both Joe and Pat over the weekend, they said there were some really good catches being taken, and Pat even got word of a 24-inch fluke taken from shore down at the dock and dine. It's a great little spot to fish. You can get fluke, bass, bluefish, just about everything that swims the river is going to come through there. Let's see, the best local fluking, though, however, has been around Niantic, according to the guys down at Hillier's Tackle. They weighed in some really big fish last week, including doormats of 10.1 and 10.2 pounds. That was to go with a bunch of 7 and 8 pounders. So there's some really good action. That's sort of where the center of the Connecticut fluke fishing is right now as far as productivity on the bigger fish in that Niantic area. But again, Connecticut River is putting up some fish as well. Over in Rhode Island, it looks like the push of big striped bass finally beginning to arrive out at Block Island. Got word of a flurry of big fish this week from all of our reporting stations. I heard of one boat supposedly got 5 fish over 50 pounds. There was a 63-pound fish that was caught by shot by a spear fisherman last week, so some really big fish over there. Now, while it's my responsibility to pass along word of such bites, I ask that you, the reader of the Fisherman, the viewer of this video, to fish over there with some responsibility and not just kill every single fish that you get. Take the ones that you're going to need, that you're going to eat, fish perhaps that aren't going to survive, but do your part to throw a few back and send those photographs in to us of you releasing those big striped bass. I guarantee if it's a quality shot, it's going to make it into the magazine. Another hot bite down Rhode Island finally is that scup fishing is kicking into gear as we've been waiting for all this time. It's quite a bit behind this year, as a lot of stuff is, but places like Watch Hill, the Breacheways of South County, even the West Wall are producing plenty of fish for shore fishermen. Boat guys have been getting into them for a little while, but finally shore fishermen are taking their share. The guys over at Little Toot Charters have been working the waters out by block for some really decent catches of both striped bass and fluke. Last week, the biggest fluke that they pulled in was 10.2 pounds. It's a nice fish. We got another new advertiser, Booked Off Charters of Wakefield, Rhode Island. They've been working those same local grounds for striped bass and for fluke, and they also on Saturday brought in a 10.2 pound fluke. So just to let you know, there's some good fluke being taken in that area. That was on Saturday this past weekend. Then Sunday they did an offshore trip, and they boated 10 blue sharks to 250 pounds. They were targeting makos and threshers as well. Unfortunately, they didn't pull any up in the slick. It was all blue dogs, but hey, 250-pound fish, nothing wrong with that. Moving up into Rhode Island, going to start off with a little offshore item of note. There were several references to blue marlin being caught by the offshore boats this past week. So give the offshore report section a look for complete details on who caught what and where. Red Top Sporting Goods reports an improvement, big time, in the canal. Although it's still only a little bit better than it has been. Not quite what we expect, it's a lot better than it was. So we're really happy to see that there's some better fish moving through the canal, and they even weighed in their first 40-pounder from the ditch of the year this past week. Canal Bait and Tackle also reports an improvement in the canal, with the bigger fish being taken down deep on jigs and metal. That seems to be a theme that I've been getting from the reports, and not really moving to the topwater bite just yet. All those bigger fish, again 20s, maybe a few 30s, are being taken down deep on jigs, both day and night. So go deep for the bigger fish. Let's see, Paul up at Blackbeard's Bait and Tackle was very happy, very excited to report all around great action on striped bass on the Cape. Boat fishermen are taken, surf guys are taken. When I spoke to him on Friday for the surf report, there was a 10-year-old kid that was leading the week's big fish from the surf. It was a 17-pounder that was caught on fresh sand eels from the shop, fished on the bottom. So really good fishing. It's good to hear on the Cape. According to Fishing Fanatics up in Everett, the inshore cod fishing has picked up recently. Anglers are starting to catch cod on sabiki rigs meant for mackerel when they're fishing down deep, so that's pretty good to hear. Inshore cod, nothing wrong there. There's also note some large stripers continue to be caught in and around Boston Harbor. It's a really good fishery that's kicking in this year, and they had several fish to the high 40-pound class caught, and some brought into the shop this week. Lastly, up at Surfland Bait and Tackle, they report much improved action along the beachfront with some pretty good sized fish being caught throughout the week. Enough of teens, 20-pounders, but the big fish of the week was caught by Matt Camilleri. He brought in a 40-pound striped bass that he caught on the ever-popular Daiwa SP minnow on Thursday morning. If you're looking for a few tips on how to re-rig that Daiwa SP minnow, make it a little sturdier, give a look to the video that I produced last week, put on our website, fisherman.com, talking about beefing up a Daiwa SP minnow. So there you have it. I'm Toby Lapinski for the New England edition of the Fisherman magazine, wishing you tight lines on the water.